This is a story, once upon a time, in India probably. Some saint is sitting under a tree. Full lotus, deep samadhi, last stages of samadhi, very near to enlightenment. Now, in the tree there is a nest, and there's a mother bird with some eggs. And she sees the saint and she thinks, oh, my nest is looking so dirty. I should clean it out a little bit, to honor the presence of the saint, which is there. So she starts cleaning it. But by accident, one of the eggs falls out of the nest on the head of the saint. Now, the saint did not really notice. First of all, he is in deep samadhi. You don't really notice much if you're in deep samadhi. But second, like many saints here, he had these long jattas, which were curled on his head. So a little bit like a nest, this was like holding this egg, and it was falling there and lying there. And around that time, some peasants came by, and they saw this strange sight of a saint meditating under a tree with an egg on top of his jattas. So they kind of were a little sitting nearby and wondering what it's about. Now, as I said, this saint is very near to enlightenment. So then it actually happens. He's totally unaware of the egg and the people, and it just happens. So all his prana is gathered, big light coming out from his Sahasrara chakra, and he really goes out, never to return. The peasants see that. It's like evening time, so some of that light show they can actually, see. And this light is just around this egg, so they are like wondering, what is this? And they are waiting to see if the saint comes out of it, he can maybe explain. But of course the saint is no longer there, he's gone. And the body becomes hard and cold. So they realize, oh, this person really had enlightenment and left. And they start telling the story to their neighbors. And the neighbors tell it to other people. And some local pandit comes and writes down the story. And so the news spreads, and from all over the country people are coming to see this now famous saint, who became enlightened with an egg on his head. Some author even wrote a book about it called Egglightenment. And lots of things going on. And it was a huge inspiration. And people really thought, yes, this must be a very good method to put an egg on your head and sit still, so the egg doesn't fall, and meditate like that. Must work. So many were starting to try. Nobody became enlightened immediately, but okay, they continued trying and finding new ways. Like some people were really shaping their hair in a nest form, so they could really sit for a long time because there was a little bit of a rim which was keeping the egg, and so that way they could really sit a long time. And then other people thought it was all just nonsense, and they would shave their hair and then balance the egg on their bald hair, which was really very difficult. And when these two factions would meet, there would kind of a little bit be disagreement about which was the best way. But anyway, this whole drama is going on. But okay, nobody getting enlightened. So slowly interest is going. In the meantime, they've already built like a shrine there, and the whole thing is like getting really big. But nobody gets enlightened, so interest is a little bit going. And then suddenly one young man appears on the scene who has a particular interest in this story because of something that happened in his childhood. In his childhood, he was very poor. Many days without food. So sometimes he would cry to his mother and say, oh, I'm hungry, I have pain in my tummy, and can't you do something? And the mother could not do anything. She had no means to get food. So she said to the boy, well, what you can try is, you focus very much on some food which you would like to have. You really wish for it. You ask God to give you this food. And sometimes really it will work. I tell you, do this, and that will be a good help to our family. So the boy thought, what would I want? And actually one time in his life, some nice farm lady gave him an egg. And he had very much enjoyed that. So he thought, this is really what I would want. So he started meditating, you could say, on this egg, wishing it for some time, and then walking around the farms in the area and seeing maybe somebody would give him an egg. And actually sometimes it worked. And then the whole family would enjoy it because, you would bring it home and they would all have something to eat. So this was kind of his childhood, a very important thing. So when he heard of this story, he became quite interested. And he tried. He said, if there is somebody in this world who can meditate on an egg, which, in the stories had already become the cosmic egg and everything, then I can do it. So he was sitting in meditation, focusing only on this egg, and because of his history, he really could do that. And he was focusing so long on this egg that all his past karmic impressions were dropping and all his thoughts were gone, and really, 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 he got deep samadhi, he got through that even, and got enlightened. And the story is not yet finished, because with that man there came a friend who happened to be traveling with him. So he witnessed this happening. He didn't join in the egg meditation, he actually thought it was rather stupid. But he saw it happening. And he saw that his friend became enlightened. He saw all the signs of his friend being an enlightened being. So that kind of convinced him that this was a good method. So he himself also tried to focus only on the egg, on the cosmic egg. And it didn't work so well in the beginning, but slowly, slowly, with the help of his friend and with the radiance of this enlightened being, he could do it more and more and more, and after some years he also got enlightened. So what is the morale of this story? Two things we can learn. Every yoga, however obscure, however special or particular, may have some purpose for somebody special and particular who has a connection to it, like this boy had to this egg meditation. This is the first lesson. And the second lesson is, with the second boy, where this was not the case, it could still work, because he had two things which are very essential. He had conviction, because he had actually seen his friend do it, and he had the help of an enlightened being. He had the satsang, he had the guidance. So there is another important lesson that I have not really talked about. It does not really matter what yoga you do. Every yoga will bring you to the destination, provided two things are there. You have conviction and you get good help. And good help is not so easy. I mean, here it's like, there's hundreds of fantastic saints, thousands, who can help. But otherwise in the world, it's not so easy to find a really good teacher. So then it doesn't really depend so much which yoga it is, whether it is really suited for you or not. That is then not so important. Your conviction and his or her help, that is what makes it happen. So both things are there.